I seriously can't believe I've never driven an F-Type. This car came out in 2014. I think it's one of the most polarizing designs in recent memory. I still think it looks fresh. I think it's going to age awesome. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to look better with age. And it's almost like Jaguar took a 40-year nap and then woke up and they were like, all right, we got to make an awesome car. I'm listening to this throttle overrun, by the way, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm in a total base model too. I'm in a 340 horsepower. I am in the Bobo version, right? So there's like 4 different ones you can get. Oh my gosh, listen to that. Can you guys hear the snapping and crackling of this thing? Powered by a supercharged V6. This is the 340 horsepower version. The S is 380 horsepower. Adds a little bit of suspension stuff. And then you've got the 2 V8s, 550 horsepower. Then the V8 R or S or whatever it is, it's 575 horsepower. I can only imagine what those cars are like based on the base model. I love this thing, man. I can't say enough good things about this car. The steering is really direct. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. It corners really flat, and I know Jaguar kind of went after the Porsche 911 with this thing. I mean, they aimed squarely at the 911, and I don't really think they made like a direct competitor to the 911. Still not as dynamic as, say, a 911, but they definitely made an amazing option if you're considering a 911, and maybe you want a little bit more style. This thing definitely has more style. I wouldn't say that it looks better than a 911, but definitely has like a, I don't know, man. It's like a really, really nice suit versus kind of a really nice conservative suit. You know what I mean? And the exhaust note, gosh, I'm so taken back by the exhaust note. It's powered by a ZF 8-speed, which is absolutely amazing. In every car, almost every single car they put this transmission in. Jaguar calls it the quick shift, and man, it does. I mean, it shifts lightning fast. The downshifts are great. Smash on it right here. Oh my gosh. Whoa, dude. I mean, this is the Bobo model. I can only imagine what another 40 horsepower and a manual transmission, get this car in a manual transmission, would feel like. I mean, it's really direct. It's really surprisingly direct. And I mean the steering and the suspension and the turn-in. I mean, it's just unbelievable that Jaguar has made an absolute true sports car. This one has Jaguar's active exhaust, of course, which is kind of like the hallmark of the F-Type, right? It's got those big center-mounted pipes. They're absolutely beautiful. I love how it's got a long hood, reminiscent of all the Jaguars that were like, say, in the Eisenhower administration. It's seriously, they haven't made a cool car since. I mean, there's been some like decent ones, but they definitely haven't had anything like this in a long ass time, man. I still can't believe how flat it corners. It's 3,500 pounds. I mean, look, for luxury coupe, it's relatively light, I think. I don't know how much the V8 weighs versus the V6, but I'll tell you what, man, unless you're really power hungry, this is plenty for the street. I can only imagine what the V8 drives like, 550 horsepower. But the V6, even in base trim 340 horsepower, this thing feels great. 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds, right? It's not fast on paper. Maybe it's the exhaust note that is just so damn ridiculous. It makes you feel like you're going a lot faster than you are. Can you believe Jaguar has a real sports car? I mean, I always knew it looked like a sports car, but until you actually drive one of these and you realize what they've accomplished and what they've done, I mean, they've made an instant, I think it's an instant classic. And if you buy a V6 with the manual transmission, I mean, that might be a classic. You know, I don't know how much longer they're going to make that, or if they still make the manual transmission for 2018 in the F-Type. But certainly the take rate on them was probably like 5% or something. I can't imagine that a lot of people bought the manual transmission. And I don't know what the take rate was on V6 versus V8, but you really don't need the 550 horsepower. With 200 and less horsepower, this thing doesn't just feel ample. I mean, really feels great. And you can kind of push this one too, and there's a lot of beauty to that. So like if you're on a canyon road or something, I mean, you can really get into this one, whereas the V8 with 550 horsepower, I mean, that's really just kind of overkill, right? I don't know what the 0 to 60 is on that one. Probably a second less than this one. That one could get really hairy. I think this is plenty of power. And coupled with a manual, even with the ZF 8-speed, I mean, this transmission really is the shit, man. And this thing starts at 65 grand, so it's a lot less than a 911. So if you are shopping a 911, you would definitely get a lot more Jaguar for your money than, say, a base Carrera. All right, let's get on this thing first gear. Stupid. Feels faster than 5 seconds to 60, man. I just can't believe how it does in the corners. I mean, I didn't expect this from the Jaguar. And every time I hear an F-Type drive by me, man, I'm like, God, that is like the best sounding car. I mean, it's almost like they made the best looking, best sounding car in a long, long time. Manufacturers just don't really do this anymore. They don't ever go out on a limb, because Jaguar clientele, it's probably an older guy, right? Might not like loud stuff or stuff that rides like this, or steering that's this precise and tight. The S is $12,000 more than this car. Base price $77,000 versus $65,000. But you get 40 horsepower and you get a lot of suspension tweaks. I definitely think it would be worth it to get the S just to have a little bit more horsepower. Not that you need it, but based on driving this, man, you certainly don't need the V8. I'm so smitten. I can't believe I'm just now driving this damn car. I want one, man. Like, I really want an F-Type now. I don't want a bright red one. But maybe a black one, a black S with a manual. Would that be an amazing car? Would I buy that over a 911? I don't know, man. It makes a strong case, that's for sure. The seat is really good. It's got great bolstering. It's comfortable. I could definitely take this thing on long trips. I like the steering wheel. I love the shifter. I love the placement. You know, it's got great build quality. Everything feels really good. Haven't messed with the navigation yet, and to be honest with you, I don't really care what the navigation is like. Just based on the aesthetic of this car and the exhaust note, I'm sold. And like I said, would I take it over a 911? I don't know, man. It might sound better than a 911, and maybe to a lot of people look better. And, you know, they're both fairly ubiquitous at this point. I do see a lot of F-Types on the street. And depreciated, you can get these. I mean, you can get a base one for probably like 40 grand, man. That might be the best $40,000 luxury value ever, because 40 grand doesn't buy you much. A 911, you get a 997. I don't think you can get a 991 yet for 40 grand. Probably not. Maybe like 60 or 70. This is the transmission that makes people buy automatics, because they'll drive a manual and then they're getting this thing, and the first they're like, whoa, I can't do that with a manual transmission. And certainly it's engaging. Don't let anybody tell you that the automatic's not engaging, man. That is a bunch of BS. I freaking think with the paddles on this thing, man, it's so much fun. Holy shit. Whoa, dude. That's all I got for you guys today. Hey, listen, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.